Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this session. And in this session, we will continue our discussion with the super globals. In the previous class, we looked into dollar underscore server, dollar underscore get and dollar underscore post, how we can extract the header information regarding the form elements, whatever the form elements user has given the input that can be extracted using the both the depending upon what method we are using. If it is uh, get method is used, we can have dollar underscore get will have all the values stored as a key value pair. So key is what? The name of the HTML element, input element, and whatever the user entered value will be mapped to that, and we can access those. And we saw with the example. In today's session, we are going to say two more super globals: dollar underscore server and dollar underscore files. Dollar underscore server, in order to get all the server related information, such as like a server name, what is the server software, what is the IP address, things like that, we can use the dollar underscore server, and easily we can get those information, and we can utilize that information for our program requirements. The dollar underscore server associative array contains the HTTP request headers, whatever is sent by the client. That HTTP request information, whatever is embedded in that particular header, all those information we can access. Then configuration options for the PHP, whatever the configuration options are there, we can for the PHP we can access. To use the dollar underscore server array, you simply refer to the relevant case sensitive key name. You have to remember all these key names are case sensitive. Means if you use in all are in uppercase, you have to use them as is. So any lowercase or mix of uppercase and lowercase, it will not get the value. These are case sensitive. Means you have to use with a proper case only, that is a uppercase letter. How to output the server name? Echo dollar underscore server, inside the square bracket you give the key as server underscore name. It will give the name of the server. Then it is concatenated with this is break is a, it will put a new line on the browser display. And the next line we have echo dollar underscore server, and we are accessing server underscore software. Whatever is the software that is running on the server, that will be accessed. And we are inserting one more break there, and echo dollar underscore server. One second, hold on, just background noise. Okay, sorry for that background noise. A lot of constructions are going around. All right. So you can there are different information that we can access using dollar underscore server, and let me show you the code. login.php, and okay, so directly I have created in the XAMPP and htdocs, and so last time we saw this login form. So let me open that login form. Let me start the Apache server. HTML. This is the page we looked in the previous class. I have just added few things there, and this is edit login.php. All right. So I have used basically the same code just to demonstrate the server details, how we can access the server details. This is the PHP code. This is the form. When I click on the submit form, it is going to call the login.php. This is the login.php code. Here I am getting, this is a post method. You can see post method. So dollar underscore post will have form related information, name and the password. Then pleasure, welcome to our website. And then these are the details. I'm having two new lines and server details heading concatenated with again new line, echo server underscore name. This is the text concatenated with dollar underscore server. Then inside I have the server name. Okay, this will get me the server name dot then new line. Again on the new line I have server software, then remote address, then request method, then document root. Let me run this particular code. So I will give some name. Okay, this is easy to select, and I will say submit. Now that PHP called. Okay, some problem is there. Oh, sorry, I'm running from C colon. That's so we have to run it from the local host. That is the mistake. So right now, what happened? So this is a good use case we can learn. What I did call that HTML directly from the my local folder. Okay, so this is not from the server request. This is from the wherever is the particular file. I'm just displaying it on the. This is pure. It's a client side HTML. When I click on this, it is just showing what is the content of the PHP, which is also present in the same folder. So how we should be running? We should be running as a web application, that is localhost. Okay, this is the login dot. Right now you can see localhost. This is the server. Some password I will give and submit. Now you can see that PHP code got executed. So PHP code got executed. Then you can see server details. This is the server details. That simple text. Server details, server name, localhost. So whatever the server you have right now, it is hosted on my laptop. That is a localhost. Whatever the domain name you give, that domain name will come here. Then server software, Apache. So you saw like this is the Apache that is running here, that it is displaying. Then remote address, then request method. What was the request method? In our HTML code, request method is post. That is why you are seeing the post. And a document root. So we'll see this document root. This document root is nothing but where on the server, where this particular code is residing. This is in the C colon XAMPP htdocs. That is the location from where we are have our PHP and the HTML. Okay, next. So this is the HTTP request header. This is the header looks like, and various information that is part of this header can be accessed using $_server. For example, this is the request method. We already saw that in the our code. Um, so you can see here, this is the request method. In request method, either whatever the HTTP request get or post or any other mechanisms we have, those values will be stored. Then server protocol, this is the server protocol. Then request time, what was the time, what time was the request sent, that is stored under request time. Then HTTP user agent, what is the HTTP user agent we have here? In this case it's a Mozilla. Then HTTP host, the complete host name will be given, in this case www.mysite.com. Then this is the HTTP accept encoding. So whatever the encoding that is used, then HTTP connection can keep alive this information. So all this information can be accessed in the PHP code using server given key name, whichever of your interest, you can provide that key name. Server underscore name key, this will this provides contains the name of the site that was requested. Server underscore addr tells us the IP address of the server. Document underscore root, so we have document underscore root here. You can see this is the document underscore root. What it provides, it provides location from which you are currently running your script. Where is our script stored currently? Our script is stored in this htdocs, right? uh, C colon XAMPP and htdocs. That is what you are seeing it on the browser. So when we ran our code, so document root C colon XAMPP htdocs, that is the information that is stored in the document underscore root. Then script underscore name, key that identifies the actual script being executed. So it will give you the script execute. If you want to see that, we will enter that value. I will edit. I will have one more echo. So in this case, you know what is the uh, script name. What is the script name? Anybody? Okay, this I updated the PHP. So what is the script name? Anybody can tell? So this is the script login.php action. This is the script that we are going to run when we run this particular HTML. Now let me go back, refresh. Now I will select this, then password, then I will submit. So you can see what script we are calling. Script name is login.php. That is the exact PHP we are calling here. That script name can be accessed. Then request header keys, the request underscore method, it will return what type of the request it is, get or post or head, put, those are the other request. That information will be provided. Then remote score address addr key returns the IP address of the requester. Whoever is requesting, it sends its IP address. And HTTP user underscore agent contains the operating system and browser that client is using. Then HTTP underscore referrer. So if there is a particular request is referred by some HTTP referrer will have the information contains the address of the page that referred us to this one through a link. For example, you make a Google search, right? Google, you search on the Google, you get a set of requests. When you click on that, Google is the referrer. Okay, that you are clicking on the link, but HTTP referrer would be that is Google website or any search engine or any website from where you are getting rerouted. That could be the HTTP referrer. This is the code example, header access examples. PHP echo $_server HTTP user agent, then browser, get browser, then you pass this, then you will get the what type of a browser you are accessing. Then this particular example is provide a context dependent on the output. So $previous page, okay, here you are checking for the HTTP referrer, and this HTTP referrer, you are checking your search page. So string position, str position, this is the method available in the PHP which will look for this document, and it will check this $previous page, whatever the value we have HTTP referrer, it will search in this PHP, and wherever it finds the first instance, that position will be sent to this. So if this particular previous this referrer is available in the search.php, then it will provide a location which will not be zero. So some non zero value will be sent. So this condition becomes true. Some non-zero, let us say 7, you get 7 not equal to 0, it is true. Then you are echoing on that particular page the link back to the search page, because it is coming from our own search page. The referrer is our search.php, so you are referring back as a link. All headers can be forged. So one problem with this is like uh, all these header things can be forged, means that can be manipulated. So making whenever you are using these values, you have to be very careful. These can be manipulated and that can be given. The HTTP underscore referrer header can lie about where the referral came from. So this can be forged. Similarly, the user underscore agent can lie about the operating system and the browser the client is using. So that can be like misleading information. So from the security aspect, that is the one big problem with the those values, because those can be manipulated. Next one is the $underscore files. This array, if you have any form that is uploading the files, okay, file or files, multiple files, the $underscore files will be having a information about that file or the files. So what kind of a information? File name, what kind of a MIME type it is, what is the extension it is having, what is the size of the file. All the information about the uploading file can be gathered using a $underscore files. How it is useful for let us say in your particular website you are there is a form which will you are asking user to upload some kind of a PDF file. If it is not a PDF file, you don't want to accept that file, isn't it? So you can do the validation. That validation can be done on multiple levels, HTML, JavaScript, and the server side that we will see. So basically you can stop that file from getting uploaded onto the server, or the size. You want a file with a particular size. Most of the, like many of the websites you must have seen, government, non-government, where you are required to upload certain information, they will have a file requirement. What should be the file size, what is the format. This is how they control using $underscore files. We can extract the information about the file getting uploaded, and accordingly we can do the validations. The $underscore file associative array contains items that have been uploaded in the current request. A server script must process the upload file or files in some way. The $underscore files array helps in this process. So we can use the dollar underscore files array in order to process the file related activities. The dollar underscore files array will contain a key value pair. Always it is a same as before, a key value pair. This array will have a key, for example, file name. Okay, then value. Actual name of the file is the value. File extension, that is the key. Then value is like a PDF or TXT or Word document, whatever the actual extension. So it is stored as a key value pair. That is how all the PHP arrays get stored. First, a refresher on the HTML forms for uploading the file. So first we will just refresh our HTML knowledge, how we can upload a particular file on a web application. First, these are the HTML required for file upload. First thing, the method. The method must be post. For every form we have the method. Method must be uh, post method. You must ensure that the HTML form uses the HTTP post method, since transmitting a file through an URL is not possible. Okay, if you use the get method, it will use the URL, and transmitting a file using a URL is not possible. You must use the post method, and you must add one more property for the form, that is ENC type. Okay, that is encryption type. ENC type is equal to multi-part forward slash form hyphen data. So this particular property you must include in the form. Attribute, you must add ENC type attribute to the HTML form that is performing the upload, so the HTTP request can be executed. You must include an input type of file in your form. So we have seen there are many input types. We have to use the file type. So you can see the example here, example of the form. This form allows the uploading of the any kind of a file. Form ENC type is equal to, inside the single quote or double quote. PHP supports both as a string, multi-part forward slash form hyphen data. Then method must be post. Then you have one input of type file. Then name of this control is file1, and ID is file1. Then this is a submit button. So input type is equal to submit. It will create a submit button. On the form you will see a one input. Basically it will ask for the file selection, file upload, and second another button for the submitting of that file to the server. We'll see the code for that. So I have created file underscore upload file.html. Let me open that file first. So here in this HTML, you can see I have, this is the same regular title, upload file. Then inside the body, I have the form. I have ENC type, multi-part forward slash form hyphen data, method, post, and action up file.php. I'm going to call this particular file. And I have field set legend, which says file upload. Inside that I have a paragraph. I have an opening paragraph. Then I have a label username. Okay, so it should be a file name. File name label is there, and input type file, and the name of the file is file1. Then I have the submit button. So then I will open the upfile.php. Before that, I will show you how it looks like on the browser. 5 underscore upload file. You can see here we have file upload. This is the legend, file name label I have. Then this is the input of type file, and this is the submit button. Now we will see the code. This is up file.php, which is available in htdocs. Okay, so here I have a simple PHP code. Inside that I have first I have a new line concatenated with a text file details colon. This is the end of the string, concatenated with a break HTML element which will give a new line. Then echo file name concatenated with dollar files. Here you will have each file will have the attribute, so I can have multiple files here. So the file in this particular case I'm just uploading one file. So the first it is a two-dimensional array. The first dimension is the file name. So my file is file1. If you go to the your HTML, the name is, this is what the file upload I'm doing, file1. So that would be my first attribute, file1 and name. So it will give the name. Similarly, file1, what is the type? File1, if there is any error in uploading, so these are represented as a numbers, and also there is a constants created for those particular errors. Then file1, size of the file being uploaded, and this TMP name, it is the temporary location on the server where our file will get uploaded. Now we will come back here. I will click on the choose. So basically it will open a window where I can select a file. Then I will say some HD, some PDF document I will select. Then I will say, now you can see file details. Name is whatever the name, hindi1.pdf, that is the name. And this is the MIME type. MIME type is application/PDF. Then error 0. 0 represents there is a no, the file upload is successful. This gives me the size of the file in bytes. And this is the temporary location where the file will be stored, c:\XAMPP TMP, and this is the name, temporary name it is given. This is where the file will get uploaded. Let me select some other file name, different extension. Let me say book1.xlx. It is around 16 KB. Then I will say submit. You can see details, book1.xlsx, and application. This is the application, error 0, then size, and this is the temporary file location. All right. Next, handling file upload in PHP. $_ files array will contain a key value pair for each file uploaded in the post. So if there are multiple files, the first dimension would be the file name. The second dimension is the name, error, size, all those different keys are there. The key for each element will be name attribute from the HTML form, while the value will be an array containing the information about the file as well as the file itself. The keys in the that are in the array are name, type, temp name, tmp_name, error, and size. You can see already we saw the code example. Here is the HTML. It is on the client side. We have the form, and method is post, and they are calling the upfile.php. Very similar kind of a code I have. This is the file that is selected. Okay, it will be sent as a HTTP post. Then once that HTTP request goes to the server, on the server side we can access all that information using a $_files, and the first dimension is the file name, file1. We get the file name from the form, and second dimension is the different attribute that we want to access, like a name, type, okay, then temp name, etc. Suppose if you have multiple files you are uploading, then this first dimension will be taking the name of the respective file. Name is a string containing the full file name used on the client machine. For example, here you can see this is the complete name, book1.xls. Okay. Then typation of the MIME type. So this is the MIME type. So simple. Let me choose a text. Okay. Then submit. You can see this is the MIME type, text /plain. Then temp underscore name is the full path of the location on the server where the file is being temporarily stored. On the server location, it will give error. It is an integer, encodes many possible errors, and is set to upload underscore err underscore. Okay, this is the constant, and its integer value is 0. So here 0 means what? It is uploaded successfully. Then size, it is an integer representing the size in bytes of the uploaded file. Checking for the errors. For every uploaded file, there is an error value associated with it in the $_files array, and value for successful upload is, we already saw, 0 or upload underscore err underscore ok, and should be looked for before proceeding with any file processing. How to do that? I told you, if there are multiple files, we are going to use the for each $_ files as $file key and the file array. So this is, I'm going to get the first file. Then if $file array error, okay, not equal to upload underscore error underscore, okay, this is nothing but 0. If it is not 0, that means it's some kind of a error. Then you will display error on the browser. Error colon, this is the file key. What is the name of the file? Has error $file array and the error, whatever the error 0 1 2, that error will be displayed, and we go to the next line. If there are no errors, then echo $file upload successfully. So uploaded successfully, that information we can display on the browser. File size restrictions. So there are like I told you, certain websites, they might have a restriction on the file size that user is uploading. In that cases, we have three different ways of restricting the file size. One is using the HTML in the input form. That is one way of doing it. Second one is the JavaScript way. We can use the JavaScript, and we can stop submitting a form whose size is bigger than what is expected, what is the maximum size. And the third is using the PHP code. So this two things, like PHP code, when we talk about PHP code, this goes on the server side, processing happens on the server side, and so that is how it happens. In case of a JavaScript, it is on the client side, that request itself will be stopped. The first one is HTML in the input form. We can, using a HTML method, we can detect the errors in uploading, that is file exceeding the certain size. Add an hidden input field before any other input fields in your HTML form with a name of max underscore file underscore size. So you can see here we have included a input of a type hidden, and name should be given as max underscore file underscore size, and this is the maximum size you want to specify. This would be in the bytes. So in this case, particular example, it is 1000 sorry, this is 1 million bytes, so that is maybe 1 MB. So that is how you can restrict. Then you have the regular, this is the file input, then we have the submit button. So that is one way of doing. Next is JavaScript. If you want, we can try this one. This won't take much time. I will add it to the HTML. So what we have to add, we have to add a hidden input. So I will say input and type is equal to hidden, then name is equal to max size, max file size. Okay, max file size. Okay, then we have the last one is how much value you want to set. For the simplicity understanding, just I will say 1000 bytes, and using the input, I will save it. Now we will reload this page. I made the change in the HTML, and okay, I refreshed. Okay, now what I will do is I will choose a file which is more than 1000. Okay, for example, this text, it is 3000 bytes. Okay, this is selected, if.text, then submit button. Now you can see there is a error 2, and if you search for the you can say PHP and dollar underscore files error, you can say description, because that is a code we are getting. Error description, error messages explain. Let me open this. So there are description given for each of these. Okay, you can see value 0 is already we know, upload error underscore error underscore. Okay, then value 2, this is what we are getting, upload underscore err underscore form underscore size. The uploaded file exceeds the max underscore file underscore size directive that was specified in the HTML form. So this is how you are getting that error here. So you are getting the error as 2. If I increase the size, so if I increase, let me go back to the code. Let me increase it to 1000. Instead of 1000 bytes, I will make it as 1 million, that is 1 MB. Then I will choose the same file. Okay, the file got selected. Okay, maybe this did not refresh. Make sure that it is getting the uploaded file. This looks like updated file. So you can see now that error has been, because we increased the size. Now error is 0, means the upload is okay. Next is similarly one that is the HTML way of checking whether the whatever the file restrictions we have, whether that is exceeded or not. That is how we can detect. In case of a JavaScript, it allows a client-side check to happen before any data transmitted. So in earlier HTML or in the later PHP, the request will get submitted, and then we are checking for that error, and then we will give the response. But in case of a JavaScript, on the client side itself, we don't even submit the form. On the client side itself, it will get rejected. You can see this is the start of the JavaScript, end of the JavaScript. I have a variable defined, file is equal to DOM. This is the DOM object, document dot get element by ID file1. So it will get that file1 element. Okay, element object. Then variable max underscore size, document dot get element by ID, wherever the max file size has specified, dot value, I'm getting that value. Now I have the object element, and then I know what is the maximum size. Now file dot files and file dot files dot length. So it is going to check the length of the file. If it is equal to 1, then it will come file dot files first file. So 0 indicates the first file, dot size is greater than maximum size. So it will get the size of this particular file, whichever user has selected, it will get the size. And if it is greater than the maximum size specified, then I will show a alert. The file must be less than max size divided by 1024, that is represented in kilobytes. So it will show the a figure what how many kilobytes it should be less than that kilobytes. And e dot prevent default, you remember, this will cancel the event, whatever the event that is form is getting submitted, that will be cancelled. So request will not go to the server. Then third mechanism is using the PHP. So third mechanism for limiting the upload file size is to add a simple check on the server side, just in case JavaScript was turned off or the user modified the max underscore file underscore size hidden field. If user modifies that one, then we will not be able to, the file will get transmitted. Then we can do a server side checking, dollar underscore max file underscore size, that variable I am creating and setting this value. Then for each of the files, dollar files, the dollar file key and the dollar file array. So this is going to get the, if there are multiple files, this is going to iterate through each of the file. So first time we will get the first file in the file array. Then dollar file array, there is a property attribute size. I'm going to access that. If it is greater than the max file size that is defined here, then error dollar file key is too big. So that message will be displayed on the browser. Echo means it will output it to the browser. Then it will printf. It will provide this information. Uh, dollar file key. This file key is this size. So file array, the size you are representing it in the kilobytes by dividing 1024. That is how you can check on the server side. Limiting the type of the file upload, similar to the size, we can also limit the type. What if you wanted user to upload an image and uploaded Microsoft Word document? You can examine the file extension, and then you can stop user from uploading not non-required files. For example, here I want the only the images, that is JPG and PNG files. I will create a valid variable, PHP variable array having JPG and PNG value, and I'm going to create an array of valid MIME. Okay, MIME is image forward slash JPEG and image forward slash PNG. Those are the respective MIME type for the JPG and the PNG. Then for each file, I'm going to iterate through each of the file, dollar file key and the dollar file array, dollar extension. I'm going to get the what is the file extension. How to get that one? First, let me go to this explode. What the explode function does? This is a PHP function. What it does is it will explode the given string into array. It will convert it into array, and how it will convert based on the whatever the character you are using. For example, here dollar file array name. What we will get here? We will get the name. For example, here ifa.txt, that is the name we are going to get here. Then it is going to explode and make it as an array. First element would be ifa, second element would be txt, and end is another PHP method. It will get the last element. And what is the last element? Last element is the file extension txt. Content of the last element of the array is, that is what is extracted by the end, and that is stored. So I will get a file extension. If it is a text file, txt, png, jpg, whatever, I will get here. Now next we have to check the MIME type. If in underscore array, if dollar file array type, so I am going to get the type. So type is what? This is how you get text forward. MIME type you are going to get text forward slash plain. That will be extracted here. Okay, dollar file array type and dollar valid mime. It is going to check whether this value is present in this array. And what is this array? This array is nothing but a array of all the valid mime types. If answer is a true and in underscore array extension, dollar extension. So let us say this, whatever the value you get, whether it is available in this array. And what is this array? Dollar valid ext. Dollar valid ext is an array of all the extension. If both the answers are true, then it will come to the true block, which will echo all is well, extension and mime types are valid. You can valid. If any of this is doesn't match, then it will check the given file has an invalid MIME type extension. That is how you can check the file type and the extension. And moving the file. As we know, when we are doing the upload, it is moved to the temporary location. So you must move the temporary file to a position on your server because you want to organize all the uploaded files properly. You don't want to keep all the files in the TMP folder. So if you want to do that organization, you have to use method move underscore uploaded under file. This method takes temporary file and file to the you want to move, that is the final destination. Dollar which file to be moved? We have dollar underscore file one, the name tmp underscore name. So this is the name of the location, temporary location. Then dollar destination, where to be uploaded. Then from current path, there is a upload folder. Inside that, dot dollar files file one name. So it should be uploaded to dollar dot forward slash upload forward slash actual file name. In this case, file name efa.txt, that is will get appended to this text. Then if move underscore upload underscore file, and first one is the temporary location. So temporary location, we get it as like this. Okay, this is the temp file, that is the first one. And second file destination is the actual where you want to move. If this command is successful, sorry, if this function is successful, it will return true. Otherwise, if there is a failure, it returns false. If it is true, the file was uploaded and moved successfully. If this is false, then there was a problem in moving the file. That is what you are going to do. Next, reading and writing the files. There are two basic techniques to read and write the files in PHP. One is the stream access and all-in memory access. Stream access, this is similar to what we do with the other languages. We get line by line, read line by line, and we process as and when we are getting. This is more memory efficient. Suppose if you have very large files, big files, log files, this is how you should be doing stream access. Suppose if file is relatively small, let us say it's a configuration file, and we know that configuration files are not huge files, then you load the complete file onto the memory. So processing would be very easy in case of this one, because everything is in the memory. Processing would be faster. Here there will be a lot of IO operations that will be happening. C style file access, more difficult but more memory efficient. The function fopen takes the file location or URL and accesses the mode as a parameter. So fopen, whichever the mode, right, or the whatever the mode you are opening, it will using fopen you can open the file. The returned value is a stream resource which you can then read sequentially. So how we can read? Either we can use fread or fgets to read the ahead in the file, and fclose is to close the file. And if you want to write into the file, you can use the fwrite method. So basically these are the methods. Fopen, you will open the file in whatever the mode, read write or append, whatever the mode you want to open. Then fread method is to read, or fgets method to read. Fclose is to close the file, and fwrite is to write into the file. When you are writing into the file, f open should be done with a write or append. This is example of a stream access. $f open some text file and opening in the read. $line is equal to 0, while $line is equal to f gets $f. If this is successful, means there is a inside the file there is a line of text available that will get stored in this. So that is a true. It will come inside. It will increase the line number. This will become 1. %2d colon, that will print 1 colon, then echo $line, whatever the line you extracted from this first line from this file will be displayed. Then break, it will go to the new line on the browser. Then it will go to the next line again. F gets $f. If there is one more line that will be stored here, it will line 2, okay, 2 colon, then that extracted line, then new line. So it will continue until it reaches the last line where it will not, this will not be successful. When it is not successful, that is the false condition. It will come out of the while loop. Then we close that file, because whenever we open the file, we must close it. That is how you close all the resources. Otherwise it may not result in a immediate error, but over a time you will get a your system will crash because of such open objects. For in-memory file access, these are the methods that can be used. File, so it will read the entire file into an array with each array element corresponding to one line in the file. Suppose there are 100 lines in the text file. If you say file and you read that text, there will be a array created with 100 elements, and each element is having one line of the text. File underscore get underscore contents, it reads the entire file into an string variable. Complete file will be read into an one variable. File put contents, opposite to that, it writes the content of a string variable into a file. In memory file access, to read the entire file into a variable, you simply use $file as a string. This is a file, okay. It is file underscore get underscore contents is going to get this complete file loaded into this variable. And to write the contents of a string into content of the string $write me into a file, so you will, this is the file name, you use this method, file underscore put underscore contents. This is the file that is getting written by all the content that is present in the $write me variable. Okay, this is a, imagine we have a comma delimited text file that contains the information about the painting. So this is the file you can this is the 1 2 3 4 lines are there in the file, and each is separated by a comma. So this is some painting ID, then the artist and the name of that art and the year it is created. So there is a 4 information there. How we can get that information is $paintings is equal to file. You are going to read the complete file. File will, what it will do, read the complete file into this variable, or it will, if there is any problem, it will stop processing. If there is any error, it will stop processing. $delimiter comma, and for each paintings, so this has like for this complete file is read into this $paintings as an array. So how many elements are there? 4 elements will be there. Each line would be one array element. We will parse through, we will iterate through that array elements. $paintings as $painting, so this is going to point me to the first line. Then explode, delimiter is comma, and $painting, this will be having this content, first line. So it will get exploded into an array, and each array element will be having these values. So at 0th location I will have this, at 1 location I will have Picasso, this is 2 location, and this is 3 location. Now once we explode it, this array $painting fields, this will be having a four elements as exploded by this first line. So 0 will be the ID, 1 will be the artist, 2 will be the title, and 3 will be the year. And this will be done in like a loop. So next again it will fetch the next array element. Next array element is this one, and again it is going to be exploded to get all the values. So this is how we are going to get all the values. And based on this, once you have this information, you will do whatever you want to do with that particular information. If you want to display it on the browser, or you want to store it in the database, whatever methodology you want to follow according to the requirement, you can do that. That will complete the half of the fourth module.